You think you know someone at work. You share coffee breaks, late-night shifts, and those quiet moments when the corporate mask slips away and real humanity emerges. Then, in one devastating instant, you discover that what felt like genuine connection was actually calculated strategy, and the person you trusted was building entirely different relationships behind your back. The betrayal doesn't just hurt, it rewrites every shared moment, transforming memories of authentic connection into evidence of your own naivety. Here's the paradox that nobody talks about: the workplace environments that demand our most vulnerable selves, teamwork, collaboration, trust, are often the same spaces where that vulnerability gets weaponized against us. We are told to be authentic, to build relationships, to connect with colleagues, yet these very connections become the pathways through which we experience some of our deepest professional disappointments. The night shift employee saw her shivering with cold in the cafeteria. He took off his own jacket and placed it over her shoulders without saying a word. In the quiet hum of fluorescent lights and distant machinery, gestures like these carry more weight than grand declarations ever could. The workplace becomes a stage where authentic human connections reveal themselves through the smallest acts of kindness. When someone notices your discomfort and acts without expectation, it creates a moment of genuine trust that cuts through professional facades. These spontaneous displays of care in sterile corporate environments remind us that beneath our job titles, we're all seeking basic human warmth and recognition. The simple act of sharing warmth becomes a metaphor for sharing vulnerability, opening doors to deeper connections. Such moments test our ability to recognize authentic gestures versus calculated moves in professional settings. She smiled, surprised, and said, "You're different. Nobody has ever noticed me like this." Her words carried the weight of someone who had grown accustomed to being invisible in the corporate machinery. In environments where people often view colleagues as stepping stones rather than human beings, genuine attention becomes precious currency. The surprise in her voice revealed how rare it is to encounter someone who sees beyond professional utility to actual human need. This moment of recognition sparked something deeper than workplace camaraderie. It touched the fundamental human desire to be truly seen. When someone acknowledges not just your professional contributions but your basic humanity, it creates a profound sense of connection. Her response showed how starved many of us are for authentic human interaction in professional spaces. The workplace had conditioned her to expect indifference, making his simple kindness feel revolutionary. In the following nights, they shared snacks, whispers, and silent jokes among the turned-off machines. The empty workplace transformed into their private sanctuary, where authentic personalities could emerge without the performance pressure of daytime operations. These quiet moments between shifts created a unique intimacy that daytime colleagues rarely experience together. The shared conspiracy of nighttime conversations builds bonds that feel more genuine than forced team-building exercises or mandatory social gatherings. When you connect with someone in the peaceful hours when the corporate world sleeps, there's an honesty that emerges naturally. Their laughter echoing through empty corridors created a secret world within the professional environment. But as we'll discover, the workplace holds many secrets, and some connections that seem genuine may hide deeper motivations that challenge our trust completely. The contrast between night shift authenticity and corporate daylight reveals itself in ways that can shatter even the strongest workplace friendships. During these quiet hours, people drop their professional masks and reveal their true personalities, creating bonds that feel unbreakable. The shared experience of working while the world sleeps creates a unique brotherhood among night shift workers. These conversations in empty hallways and quiet break rooms become the foundation for what seems like genuine workplace loyalty. The intimacy of shared snacks and whispered stories builds a sense of partnership that transcends typical colleague relationships. When you're the only two people in a vast, quiet building, every interaction feels more meaningful. The absence of daytime politics and competition allows for more honest communication and deeper personal connections. Trust in professional environments requires careful navigation between genuine connection and strategic networking. The workplace naturally creates artificial intimacy through shared challenges, long hours, and common goals. Night shift workers often develop stronger bonds because they face unique challenges together while most of the world sleeps. These relationships feel more authentic because they're forged in quieter, less competitive environments. The vulnerability of late-night conversations creates emotional intimacy that can be easily mistaken for deeper commitment. When someone shows consistent kindness and attention in professional settings, we naturally begin to trust their intentions. However, the same environment that fosters genuine connection also provides perfect cover for those with ulterior motives. Professional boundaries become blurred when personal connections develop in workplace settings, creating complex emotional landscapes. The line between friendship and romantic interest often becomes unclear when two people spend significant time together in intimate work environments. Night shifts create a unique dynamic where normal social rules feel suspended, leading to deeper personal sharing. These connections can feel more meaningful than relationships formed in traditional social settings because they're built on shared professional challenges. The isolation of night work intensifies emotional connections, making them feel more significant than they might be in normal circumstances. When workplace kindness evolves into personal attention, the recipient may misinterpret professional courtesy for romantic interest. The challenge lies in distinguishing between someone being genuinely caring versus someone with hidden romantic or strategic motivations. The foundation of workplace trust crumbles when we realize that kindness can be a tool for manipulation rather than genuine care. What appears to be authentic connection may actually be calculated moves designed to achieve specific outcomes. The same gestures that build trust, attention, kindness, shared moments, can be weaponized by those who understand human psychology. In professional environments, some individuals master the art of appearing genuine while pursuing hidden agendas. The tragedy lies not just in the betrayal itself, but in how it destroys our ability to trust future genuine gestures. When someone uses our basic human need for connection as a pathway to achieve their goals, it leaves lasting scars on our professional relationships. The lesson emerges: true character reveals itself not in moments of calculated kindness, but in how people behave when they think no one is watching, or when they have nothing to gain. On the sixth day, he walked past the mall restaurant and saw through the window, her at a table with the unit manager, wearing a new dress and smiling as if she were the most loved woman in the world. The glass barrier that separated him from this scene became a metaphor for the invisible walls that exist in our professional relationships. Sometimes we build connections with people only to discover they were simultaneously building entirely different connections elsewhere. The restaurant's warm lighting illuminated a reality he had never suspected, transforming his understanding of their shared moments in an instant. What he thought was a unique bond suddenly appeared to be just one of many relationships she was cultivating. The new dress spoke volumes about investments being made in appearances for someone else's benefit. In that frozen moment of recognition, the foundation of trust he had carefully built began to crumble beneath the weight of this unexpected revelation. She didn't even notice his presence there. The complete absence of awareness revealed how little space he occupied in her conscious thoughts, despite the significant space she had claimed in his. This moment of invisible observation provided brutal clarity about the asymmetrical nature of their connection. While he had been treasuring their shared moments and building emotional investment, she had been moving through multiple relationships without deep attachment to any particular one. The psychological impact of being unnoticed by someone you've been thinking about constantly creates a unique form of professional heartbreak. Her obliviousness to his presence demonstrated how people can be genuinely engaged in one moment, yet completely disconnected in another. The contrast between her animated conversation with the manager and her complete unawareness of his proximity highlighted the selective nature of human attention. This scene would replay in his mind countless times, each viewing revealing new layers of painful understanding about workplace dynamics. He returned to the warehouse and worked all night without removing his gloves. The physical act of keeping his hands covered became a symbolic barrier against further vulnerability in professional relationships. Work became his refuge, a place where measurable productivity could replace the uncertainty of human connection. The methodical nature of warehouse tasks provided comfort in their predictability, unlike the chaotic emotions stirred by workplace betrayal. His gloves served as both practical protection and emotional armor, creating distance between himself and the possibility of future hurt. The repetitive nature of his work that night helped process the shock of witnessing her apparent deception. Through physical labor, he began the process of rebuilding emotional walls that had been lowered during their brief connection. The warehouse environment, with its concrete floors and metal shelving, provided the perfect backdrop for emotional processing through physical exertion. Night shift work offers unique opportunities for reflection, as the solitude allows thoughts to flow without interruption from colleagues or supervisors. The rhythm of lifting, sorting, and organizing creates a meditative state that helps process complex emotions about workplace betrayal. His decision to work through the shock rather than confronting the situation immediately showed emotional maturity and professional wisdom. The physical exhaustion from extended work helps numb the emotional pain of discovering someone's true priorities. When trust is broken in professional settings, many people find solace in returning to the basic satisfaction of completed tasks. The predictability of warehouse operations provided stability when his understanding of human relationships felt completely unstable. Professional betrayal often reveals itself through changes in behavior and attention that we initially rationalize or ignore. The signs were likely present earlier, but emotional investment can blind us to red flags in workplace relationships. When someone begins investing time and energy in multiple professional relationships simultaneously, their attention naturally becomes divided. The challenge lies in distinguishing between normal professional networking and calculated relationship building for personal advancement. Her new dress and animated demeanor with the manager suggested a level of investment that went beyond casual workplace interaction. The timing of this revelation, just as their own connection was deepening, highlighted the strategic nature of her relationship building. Understanding these patterns helps protect against future emotional investment in people who view relationships as transactions rather than genuine connections. The psychology of workplace advancement through relationship building creates complex ethical questions about authenticity versus strategy. Some individuals naturally compartmentalize their professional relationships, maintaining different levels of connection with different people based on potential benefits. The ability to appear genuinely interested in multiple people simultaneously is a skill that serves career advancement, but can devastate those who mistake professional charm for personal connection. Her behavior wasn't necessarily malicious, but rather reflected a strategic approach to workplace relationships that prioritized advancement over authentic connection. The challenge for those on the receiving end is learning to recognize when someone's attention is genuine versus when it's part of a broader networking strategy. Professional environments reward those who can build multiple beneficial relationships simultaneously, creating natural conflict with those seeking deeper, more exclusive connections. The key insight is that professional success and personal authenticity don't always align, forcing individuals to choose between advancement and genuine connection. This experience becomes a masterclass in reading workplace dynamics and protecting emotional investment in professional relationships. The lesson isn't to avoid all workplace connections, but rather to maintain healthy skepticism about others' motivations while remaining open to genuine relationships. Future interactions would be filtered through this experience, creating both wisdom and potentially excessive caution in professional settings. The memory of her obliviousness to his presence would serve as a reminder to pay attention to how much space he occupied in others' thoughts versus how much space they occupied in his. This imbalance often signals the difference between mutual connection and one-sided investment. However, as we'll see in the next situation, the aftermath of such revelations can lead to even more complex emotional territories, where pride and hurt create their own destructive patterns. The real test of character comes not in the moment of discovery, but in how we choose to respond when confronted with our own vulnerability and misjudgment. Topic 3. A colleague commented, "New manager, high salary, and quick taste too." The casual cruelty of workplace gossip reveals how quickly professional environments can turn personal situations into entertainment for others. These offhand remarks carry the weight of collective judgment, transforming private disappointments into public spectacles for office consumption. The colleague's observation wasn't just commentary. It was a brutal summary of workplace dynamics, where romantic connections are often viewed through the lens of career advancement. Such comments demonstrate how quickly professional communities form narratives about relationships, reducing complex human emotions to simple transactional exchanges. The phrase "quick taste" particularly stings because it diminishes what felt like genuine connection into something disposable and strategic. Workplace gossip serves as both warning system and social control mechanism, teaching lessons about professional behavior through public shame. The casual delivery of such devastating insights shows how normalized this type of commentary becomes in professional environments. The sting of having your private feelings become public knowledge creates a unique form of professional humiliation that extends far beyond the original betrayal. When colleagues begin discussing your personal situation with casual indifference, it transforms workplace dynamics from neutral territory into a hostile emotional landscape. The realization that others had been observing and analyzing the relationship while it was developing adds layers of embarrassment to the original disappointment. Professional environments create fishbowl effects where personal interactions become subject to constant scrutiny and interpretation by others. The colleague's comment suggested that this pattern was recognizable to others, implying that such behavior was common enough to be predictable. This public awareness of private rejection creates lasting changes in how someone navigates workplace relationships. The knowledge that others are watching and potentially judging your professional interactions adds pressure to maintain emotional composure while processing personal hurt. The commentary about high salary reveals the transactional nature that many people bring to workplace relationships, where financial status becomes a primary consideration in romantic connections. This perspective reduces human relationships to economic exchanges, where affection and attention are commodities to be traded for security and advancement. The implication that her choice was obviously motivated by financial gain rather than genuine attraction creates a cynical worldview about human motivations. Such observations force us to question whether workplace relationships can ever be purely authentic, given the inherent power dynamics and financial considerations present in professional environments. The colleague's matter-of-fact delivery suggests that viewing relationships through this economic lens is considered normal and expected. This commentary becomes a harsh education in workplace realities, where personal feelings often take secondary importance to practical considerations. The challenge lies in maintaining faith in genuine human connection while acknowledging the reality of strategic relationship building in professional settings. Professional gossip serves multiple functions in workplace culture, from social bonding to status reinforcement, often at the expense of individual dignity and emotional well-being. Those who engage in such commentary position themselves as wise observers of human nature, using others' personal situations to demonstrate their sophisticated understanding of workplace dynamics. The casual delivery of these observations masks the real damage they cause to workplace relationships and individual emotional health. When colleagues reduce complex human situations to simple cause and effect scenarios, they create an environment where vulnerability is punished and authentic connection is discouraged. The colleague's comment also served as a warning to others about the consequences of emotional investment in workplace relationships. This type of commentary creates a culture where people become increasingly guarded and strategic in their professional interactions. The long-term effect is workplace environments where genuine human connection becomes increasingly rare and suspect. The aftermath of such commentary forces individuals to confront uncomfortable truths about how their personal lives are perceived and discussed by colleagues. The realization that others view your emotional investment as naive or misguided creates lasting changes in professional behavior and relationship building. This experience teaches harsh lessons about maintaining professional boundaries and the importance of keeping personal feelings separate from workplace interactions. The colleague's observation becomes a catalyst for emotional growth, forcing the development of thicker skin and more sophisticated understanding of professional dynamics. However, this education comes at the cost of spontaneous human connection and the ability to trust in authentic workplace relationships. The challenge becomes learning from the experience without becoming cynical or completely closed off to future genuine connections. As we'll explore further, the response to such commentary often reveals as much about character as the original situation itself. The psychological impact of having your private disappointment become public entertainment creates lasting effects on professional confidence and relationship building. When colleagues casually discuss your personal situation, it transforms the workplace from a neutral environment into a space where you feel constantly observed and judged. The knowledge that others were aware of the relationship dynamics while they were developing adds a layer of embarrassment that compounds the original emotional hurt. This public awareness of private rejection creates a sense of professional vulnerability that can take years to overcome. The colleague's commentary also reveals the extent to which workplace relationships are subject to constant analysis and interpretation by others. The casual nature of such discussions demonstrates how normalized this type of personal commentary has become in professional environments. The challenge lies in maintaining professional effectiveness while processing the emotional impact of public judgment. The experience of having personal feelings become workplace entertainment teaches valuable lessons about discretion and emotional self-protection in professional environments. The colleague's casual cruelty demonstrates how quickly professional communities can turn individual disappointment into collective amusement. This commentary serves as both warning and education about the realities of workplace relationship dynamics. The ability to maintain professional composure while processing such public humiliation becomes a crucial skill for career survival. However, the cost of this education is often the loss of spontaneous human connection and the development of excessive emotional guardedness. The long-term challenge becomes finding balance between professional self-protection and remaining open to genuine human connection. But as we'll discover in the next chapter of this story, sometimes the most cutting responses come not from others' commentary, but from our own defensive reactions when we feel cornered by emotional vulnerability. Topic 4. When she tried to joke about missing him, he responded, "It was just a jacket, and it wasn't even your size." The precision of this response reveals how hurt transforms into protective cruelty, creating defensive barriers that often inflict more damage than the original betrayal. His words carried the surgical accuracy of someone who had spent considerable time crafting the perfect, dismissive response to anticipated future contact. The reference to the jacket being the wrong size served as a metaphor for their entire connection, something that appeared to fit, but was fundamentally mismatched from the beginning. This type of response demonstrates how wounded pride can generate responses designed to inflict maximum emotional damage, while maintaining apparent indifference. The casual delivery masked the careful calculation behind words chosen specifically to diminish the significance of their shared moments. Professional environments often witness these types of calculated responses, where hurt individuals use their knowledge of others' vulnerabilities as weapons. The tragedy lies in how defensive reactions can destroy any remaining possibility of genuine resolution or understanding. Her attempt to joke about missing him revealed the complex emotional aftermath that follows workplace betrayals, where guilt and regret often manifest as attempts to minimize or normalize previous behavior. The choice to frame her feelings as a joke demonstrated her own discomfort with the situation and possible recognition of how her actions had affected him. This approach, using humor to address serious emotional situations, reflects a common strategy for testing whether reconciliation or continued connection might be possible. Her timing suggested that the relationship with the manager might not have provided the satisfaction she had anticipated, leading to nostalgic reconsideration of abandoned connections. The casual nature of her approach indicated either emotional immaturity or calculated testing to see if he remained available as a backup option. Professional environments often become stages for these types of emotional negotiations, where people attempt to maintain multiple relationship options simultaneously. The complexity of her motivation, whether genuine regret or strategic relationship management, highlights the difficulty of interpreting authentic emotion in workplace settings. His response demolished any possibility of future connection, while simultaneously revealing the depth of his hurt and the extent of his emotional investment in their brief relationship. The phrase, "it was just a jacket," directly contradicted the significance that gesture had held for both of them in the moment, rewriting history to minimize his vulnerability. This type of revisionist dismissal serves as emotional self-protection, but also demonstrates how defensive responses can become more damaging than the original betrayal. The specificity of mentioning the size created an additional layer of rejection, suggesting that even his gesture of care was fundamentally flawed or unwanted. His response showed sophisticated understanding of how to inflict emotional damage through seemingly casual commentary. The professional setting added complexity to this exchange, as both parties had to navigate personal hurt while maintaining workplace functionality. The calculated cruelty of his response revealed how quickly wounded individuals can transform from victims to perpetrators of emotional damage. The dynamics of workplace relationships create unique challenges when personal connections intersect with professional advancement opportunities. His defensive response demonstrated how professional environments can amplify personal hurt by providing ongoing exposure to the source of emotional pain. The necessity of continued workplace interaction after relationship disappointment creates pressure to develop coping mechanisms that often involve emotional suppression or aggressive defensiveness. His choice to respond with calculated dismissal rather than honest emotional expression reflects the professional requirement to maintain composure while processing personal disappointment. The workplace setting prevented the type of honest emotional confrontation that might have provided closure or understanding in other environments. Instead, both parties were forced to navigate complex emotional territories while maintaining professional functionality and public composure. The result is often these types of cutting exchanges that prioritize emotional self-protection over honest communication or potential resolution. The psychological impact of defensive responses often exceeds the damage caused by original betrayals, creating cycles of hurt that prevent genuine resolution or learning. His response transformed him from victim to aggressor, distributing emotional damage while protecting his own vulnerability from further exposure. This type of defensive strategy provides immediate emotional relief through the infliction of reciprocal pain, but ultimately prevents the processing necessary for genuine healing. The professional environment witnessed this exchange, potentially affecting both parties' reputations and future workplace relationships. His calculated cruelty demonstrated sophisticated emotional intelligence used destructively rather than constructively. The tragedy lies in how defensive responses often destroy any remaining potential for positive connection or mutual understanding. The workplace becomes a battlefield where personal hurt gets weaponized through professional interaction, creating lasting damage to both individual relationships and overall work environment. The aftermath of such exchanges creates lasting changes in workplace dynamics and individual approaches to professional relationships. His response effectively closed the door on any future personal connection while establishing new boundaries for their ongoing professional interaction. The public nature of workplace environments means that such exchanges often become known to colleagues, affecting both parties' professional reputations and relationship opportunities. The defensive nature of his response revealed more about his character than her original betrayal, demonstrating how quickly hurt can transform into cruelty. The professional setting required both parties to continue functioning together, despite the emotional damage created by their personal interaction. This necessity for continued professional contact after personal rejection creates unique challenges for emotional processing and relationship resolution. The challenge lies in learning to respond to workplace betrayal with dignity rather than defensive cruelty, maintaining professional functionality while processing personal disappointment. The experience serves as a masterclass in how defensive responses can become more damaging than original betrayals, creating permanent barriers to future connection and understanding. His carefully crafted dismissal achieved its immediate goal of emotional self-protection, but at the cost of any possibility for genuine resolution or continued friendship. The workplace environment amplified both the original betrayal and the defensive response, creating lasting effects on professional relationships and individual emotional development. The lesson emerges about the importance of processing hurt privately before responding publicly, allowing time for emotional regulation and thoughtful consideration of long-term consequences. However, the human tendency toward defensive self-protection often overrides rational consideration of response strategies, leading to exchanges that create more damage than healing. As we'll discover in the final chapter of this workplace drama, Sometimes the most profound changes come not from the initial betrayal or defensive responses, but from how we choose to rebuild ourselves after experiencing the full spectrum of professional disappointment and personal growth. Topic 5. Weeks later, he assumed supervision of the night shift, and he never took off the jacket again. Not for cold, not for heat. The promotion represented more than career advancement. It symbolized the transformation of vulnerability into strength, turning personal disappointment into professional achievement. His refusal to remove the jacket became a daily reminder of lessons learned about trust, authenticity, and the complex nature of workplace relationships. The garment that once represented spontaneous kindness now served as armor against future emotional vulnerability in professional settings. This physical symbol of his experience created a constant awareness of the boundaries necessary for effective leadership while maintaining personal protection. The jacket became his uniform of emotional independence, a visible declaration that personal feelings would no longer compromise professional judgment. His elevation to supervisory position demonstrated how personal setbacks can fuel professional ambition when channeled constructively rather than destructively. The irony wasn't lost on him. The same environment that had caused emotional pain now provided the platform for demonstrating resilience and leadership capability. The jacket's permanent presence served multiple psychological functions, from protective talisman to reminder of hard-won wisdom about human nature and professional dynamics. His decision to wear it regardless of temperature demonstrated complete ownership of the experience and its lessons, refusing to let shame or embarrassment dictate his behavior. This visible symbol of his growth communicated to colleagues that he had processed the experience and emerged stronger rather than bitter or defeated. The garment represented his commitment to maintaining professional boundaries while still remaining open to appropriate workplace relationships. His consistent wearing of the jacket created a personal ritual that reinforced daily his evolved understanding of professional interaction and emotional self-protection. The physical comfort of the familiar garment provided psychological stability during the adjustment period of new supervisory responsibilities. The jacket became part of his leadership identity, subtly communicating to his team that he understood both the importance of caring for others and maintaining appropriate professional distance. The supervisory role allowed him to channel lessons learned from personal disappointment into effective leadership strategies for managing workplace relationships and team dynamics. His experience with misplaced trust provided valuable insight into reading employee motivations and maintaining appropriate professional boundaries with supervisees. The promotion demonstrated how personal setbacks can become career advantages when processed constructively and applied to professional development. His understanding of workplace betrayal made him particularly effective at identifying and addressing potential relationship conflicts within his team before they disrupted productivity. The jacket served as a daily reminder to balance empathy with professional judgment, caring for his team while maintaining the emotional distance necessary for effective supervision. His experience taught him to distinguish between genuine team building and manipulative relationship strategies, making him a more discerning and effective leader. The personal growth achieved through processing workplace disappointment translated directly into enhanced leadership capabilities and professional credibility. The transformation from victim of workplace betrayal to effective supervisor represents one of the most powerful forms of personal and professional development available in corporate environments. His ability to extract valuable lessons from painful experience, rather than becoming bitter or cynical, demonstrated emotional maturity that served him well in leadership positions. The jacket's permanent presence symbolized his refusal to let past disappointment limit future opportunities or professional growth. His promotion validated the strength and resilience developed through processing workplace betrayal, proving that personal setbacks can become professional advantages. The supervisory role provided opportunities to model healthy workplace relationships for his team, demonstrating how to maintain appropriate boundaries while still showing genuine care for colleagues. His experience with manipulation made him particularly effective at creating authentic team culture based on mutual respect rather than false intimacy. The leadership position allowed him to protect other employees from similar experiences, by establishing clear professional standards and relationship boundaries. The jacket became a teaching tool for his team, silently communicating important lessons about professional behavior, personal boundaries, and the importance of authentic rather than strategic relationship building. His consistent wearing of the garment regardless of weather demonstrated commitment to principle over comfort, modeling the type of dedication and consistency necessary for effective leadership. The visible symbol of his experience created opportunities for mentoring conversations with team members about navigating workplace relationships and maintaining professional integrity. His approach to supervision reflected lessons learned about the difference between genuine care and manipulative attention, ensuring that his leadership style promoted authentic team building rather than false intimacy. The jacket served as a reminder to maintain consistency in his treatment of all team members, avoiding the favoritism or special attention that can create problematic workplace dynamics. His experience with betrayal made him particularly sensitive to signs of relationship manipulation within his team, allowing him to address potential problems before they affected overall productivity. The supervisory role provided a platform for demonstrating how personal growth through adversity can translate into effective professional leadership. The psychological impact of wearing the jacket daily created a form of exposure therapy that gradually transformed a symbol of vulnerability into a source of strength and professional identity. His refusal to remove it, despite changing weather conditions, demonstrated complete integration of the experience into his personal and professional development. The garment's permanent presence served as ongoing reminder of his resilience and ability to transform disappointment into achievement. His approach to supervision reflected sophisticated understanding of workplace dynamics, learned through personal experience, making him uniquely qualified to lead others through similar challenges. The jacket became part of his professional brand, subtly communicating to colleagues and superiors his reliability, consistency, and emotional stability under pressure. His promotion validated the strength developed through processing workplace betrayal, demonstrating that personal setbacks can become career advantages when handled with maturity and wisdom. The leadership role allowed him to create positive workplace culture based on authentic relationship building, rather than the manipulative strategies he had experienced. The ultimate lesson of his transformation lies in the power of choosing growth over bitterness, using personal disappointment as fuel for professional development, rather than allowing it to create cynicism or emotional withdrawal. His permanent wearing of the jacket represented complete ownership of his experience and its lessons, refusing to let shame or regret influence his future behavior or professional opportunities. The supervisory position demonstrated how workplace betrayal, when processed constructively, can develop the emotional intelligence and boundary-setting skills essential for effective leadership. His experience created unique qualifications for managing workplace relationships and team dynamics, turning personal vulnerability into professional strength. The jacket served as daily reminder that authentic leadership requires both caring for others and maintaining appropriate professional distance, balancing empathy with judgment. His transformation from victim to leader represents one of the most powerful forms of professional development, proving that resilience and wisdom gained through adversity often create the most effective and authentic leaders in any organization. Você tem razão. Eu pulei direto para a introdução sem completar todos os 8 tópicos. Vou continuar com o tópico 6 agora. Topic 6. On the 6th day, he passed by the shopping mall restaurant and saw through the window her at a table with the unit manager, wearing a new dress and smiling as if she were the most beloved woman in the world. The glass that separated them became more than a physical barrier. It transformed into a mirror, reflecting the harsh reality of workplace relationship dynamics that he had been naive enough to ignore. In that frozen moment of recognition, months of careful observation and growing trust collapsed into a single, devastating understanding about the transactional nature of professional connections. The new dress wasn't just clothing, it was an investment, a calculated decision that spoke volumes about where her true priorities lay and how she viewed the currency of workplace relationships. Her radiant smile, so different from the subdued expressions she wore during their night shift conversations, revealed the performative nature of professional charm and the stark difference between authentic connection and strategic networking. The restaurant's warm lighting created a stage where her true ambitions were displayed for anyone perceptive enough to recognize the performance. This scene would replay in his mind countless times, each viewing revealing new layers of understanding about how people can compartmentalize their professional relationships based on potential returns on emotional investment. She didn't even notice his presence there. The complete absence of awareness demonstrated how little mental space he occupied in her consciousness, despite the significant territory she had claimed in his thoughts and emotional landscape. This moment of invisible observation provided brutal clarity about the asymmetrical nature of their connection. While he had been treasuring their conversations and building genuine emotional investment, she had been categorizing him as one of many workplace relationships, filed away in the mental folder labeled night shift networking. The psychological impact of being completely unnoticed by someone you've been consistently thinking about creates a unique form of professional heartbreak that extends far beyond romantic disappointment. Her animated engagement with the manager, contrasted with her total obliviousness to his presence, highlighted how selective human attention becomes when guided by strategic rather than authentic interest. The bustling restaurant environment seemed to amplify her focus on the conversation that mattered to her career advancement, while rendering invisible the person who had genuinely cared about her comfort and well-being. This selective awareness becomes a masterclass in understanding how people prioritize their attention based on perceived value and potential benefit. The lesson embedded in her obliviousness would reshape his understanding of professional relationships and the importance of reciprocal awareness in any meaningful connection. He returned to the warehouse and worked all night without taking off his gloves. The physical act of keeping his hands covered became a symbolic rejection of the vulnerability he had shown through his original gesture of giving her his jacket. Work transformed from mere employment into emotional refuge, a place where concrete tasks and measurable productivity could replace the uncertainty and pain of misplaced human connection. The methodical nature of warehouse operations provided therapeutic structure for processing the shock of witnessing her apparent duplicity and the strategic nature of a relationship building. His gloves served as both practical protection and emotional armor, creating a barrier between himself and any future impulses toward spontaneous workplace kindness. The repetitive motions of sorting, lifting, and organizing created a meditative rhythm that helped him process the complex emotions stirred by professional betrayal. The warehouse environment, with its predictable routines and clear expectations, offered stark contrast to the confusing world of workplace relationships, where motives remain hidden and intentions are rarely transparent. Through sustained physical labor, he began the essential process of rebuilding emotional boundaries that had been compromised by his genuine care for someone who viewed him as disposable. The night shift environment that had once fostered their connection now became the backdrop for his emotional reconstruction and professional growth. The same quiet hallways that had witnessed their shared laughter and whispered conversations now served as his private space for processing disappointment and rebuilding professional confidence. His decision to work through the emotional shock rather than confronting the situation immediately demonstrated emotional maturity and professional wisdom that would serve him well in future leadership roles. The solitude of night work provided perfect conditions for honest self-reflection about his own role in misreading the relationship and the warning signs he had chosen to ignore. The physical exhaustion from extended work helped create emotional numbness that allowed him to function professionally while processing the personal impact of workplace betrayal. His commitment to maintaining work quality, despite emotional turmoil, demonstrated the type of professional discipline that separates effective workers from those who allow personal disappointment to compromise their career performance. The warehouse became his laboratory for developing the emotional resilience and professional boundaries that would eventually elevate him to supervisory positions where such skills become essential for effective leadership. Professional betrayal often reveals itself through subtle changes in behavior and divided attention that emotionally invested individuals initially rationalize or completely overlook. The signs of her strategic relationship building were likely present throughout their connection, but his emotional investment created selective blindness to behaviors that contradicted his hopeful interpretation of their interactions. When someone begins cultivating multiple professional relationships simultaneously for advancement purposes, their attention naturally becomes divided, though they may maintain the appearance of genuine interest in each connection. The challenge lies in developing the emotional intelligence to distinguish between authentic workplace friendship and calculated networking designed to create multiple advancement opportunities. Her animated demeanor with the manager, contrasted with her more subdued interactions during night shifts, suggested different levels of energy investment based on perceived career benefit. The timing of this revelation, occurring just as their own connection was deepening, highlighted the strategic nature of her relationship management and the cold calculation behind her apparent warmth. Understanding these patterns becomes crucial for protecting against future emotional investment in people who view professional relationships as transactions rather than opportunities for genuine human connection. The psychology of workplace advancement through relationship building creates complex ethical questions about the boundaries between authentic networking and manipulative emotional exploitation. Some individuals possess the natural ability to compartmentalize their professional relationships, maintaining different levels of engagement with different people based on strategic value rather than genuine affinity. The capacity to appear authentically interested in multiple people simultaneously becomes a career advancement skill that serves professional goals while potentially devastating those who mistake strategic charm for personal connection. Her behavior wasn't necessarily malicious in intent, but rather reflected a sophisticated understanding of workplace dynamics that prioritized career advancement over authentic relationship building. The challenge for those on the receiving end involves learning to recognize when someone's professional attention is genuine versus when it represents part of a broader networking strategy designed to create multiple advancement opportunities. Professional environments naturally reward individuals who can build beneficial relationships across different levels of organizational hierarchy, creating inherent conflict between authentic connection and strategic career management. The key insight involves understanding that professional success and personal authenticity don't always align, forcing individuals to choose between advancement opportunities and genuine emotional connection. This experience becomes a comprehensive education in reading workplace dynamics and protecting emotional investment, while maintaining openness to legitimate professional relationships. The lesson isn't to avoid all workplace connections or become cynical about human motivation, but rather to develop sophisticated understanding of the difference between genuine interest and strategic networking. Future professional interactions would inevitably be filtered through this experience, creating both valuable wisdom and potentially excessive caution in workplace relationship building. The memory of her complete obliviousness to his presence would serve as a lasting reminder to pay attention to the balance between mental space occupied in others' thoughts versus the space they occupy in his own emotional landscape. This asymmetry often provides the clearest signal distinguishing between mutual connection and one-sided emotional investment. However, as we'll discover in the next phase of this workplace drama, sometimes the most revealing moments come not from the initial betrayal, but from how people respond when confronted with the aftermath of their strategic relationship decisions and the emotional damage they've caused to those who trusted them. Topic 7. When she tried to joke about missing him, he responded, "It was just a jacket, and it wasn't even your size." The surgical precision of this response revealed how emotional pain can transform into defensive weaponry, creating barriers designed to inflict maximum damage while maintaining the appearance of casual indifference. His words carried the weight of someone who had spent countless hours crafting the perfect dismissive response to anticipated future contact, preparing for this exact moment when she might attempt to re-establish connection. The reference to the jacket being the wrong size served as a devastating metaphor for their entire relationship, something that appeared to fit in the moment but was fundamentally mismatched from the beginning, highlighting his newfound clarity about the artificial nature of their connection. This type of calculated response demonstrates how wounded pride generates comeback lines, specifically designed to diminish the significance of shared experiences while protecting the speaker from further emotional vulnerability. The casual delivery masked months of hurt feelings and careful consideration, transforming genuine care into weapon-grade dismissal. Professional environments often witness these exchanges where individuals use intimate knowledge of others' vulnerabilities as ammunition for emotional warfare, creating lasting damage that extends far beyond the original betrayal. Her attempt to joke about missing him revealed the complex emotional aftermath that follows workplace betrayals, where guilt and regret often manifest as casual attempts to test whether previous connections might be rekindled or maintained. The decision to frame her feelings as humor demonstrated her own discomfort with the situation and possible recognition that her strategic relationship building had created unintended emotional casualties. This approach, using lighthearted commentary to address serious emotional situations, reflects a common strategy for determining whether reconciliation or continued connection might be possible without risking direct rejection or confrontation. Her timing suggested that the relationship with the manager might not have provided the personal satisfaction she had anticipated, leading to nostalgic reconsideration of abandoned connections that had offered genuine warmth and attention. The casual nature of her approach indicated either emotional immaturity in handling the consequences of her strategic choices or calculated testing to determine if he remained available as a backup emotional option. Professional environments become stages for these types of complex emotional negotiations, where people attempt to maintain multiple relationship possibilities while minimizing personal accountability for emotional damage caused. The tragedy lies in how workplace betrayal creates situations where authentic remorse becomes indistinguishable from strategic relationship management. His response demolished any possibility of future connection, while simultaneously revealing both the depth of his hurt and his sophisticated understanding of how to inflict reciprocal emotional damage through seemingly casual commentary. The phrase "it was just a jacket" directly contradicted the profound significance that gesture had held for both participants in the moment, demonstrating his willingness to rewrite shared history in order to minimize his own vulnerability and diminish her importance. This type of revisionist dismissal serves as emotional self-protection, but also represents a form of gaslighting that denies the reality of previous authentic moments between them. The specific mention of size created an additional layer of rejection, suggesting that even his spontaneous gesture of care had been fundamentally inappropriate or unwanted, adding insult to the injury of emotional dismissal. His response showcased sophisticated emotional intelligence deployed destructively, rather than constructively, using psychological insight to cause maximum damage rather than facilitate understanding or resolution. The professional setting added complexity to this exchange, as both parties had to navigate personal hurt while maintaining workplace functionality and public composure in front of colleagues who might witness or overhear their interaction. The calculated cruelty of his response revealed how quickly individuals can transform from victims of betrayal into perpetrators of emotional violence when defending against vulnerability. The dynamics of workplace relationships create unique challenges when personal connections intersect with professional advancement opportunities and ongoing occupational requirements. His defensive response demonstrated how professional environments can amplify personal hurt by providing continuous exposure to the source of emotional pain without offering escape or natural relationship conclusion. The necessity of continued workplace interaction after relationship disappointment creates pressure to develop coping mechanisms that often involve emotional suppression, aggressive defensiveness, or complete interpersonal withdrawal. His choice to respond with calculated dismissal rather than honest emotional expression reflected the professional requirement to maintain composure and effectiveness while processing personal disappointment and professional betrayal. The workplace setting prevented the type of direct emotional confrontation that might have provided closure, understanding, or genuine resolution in other social environments. Instead, both parties were forced to navigate complex emotional territories while maintaining professional functionality, public composure, and team productivity expectations. The result becomes these types of cutting exchanges that prioritize immediate emotional self-protection over honest communication, mutual understanding, or potential relationship repair, creating lasting workplace tension and interpersonal dysfunction. The psychological impact of defensive responses often exceeds the damage caused by original betrayals, creating destructive cycles of emotional retaliation that prevent genuine healing, professional growth, or workplace harmony. His response transformed him from victim to aggressor, distributing emotional damage while protecting his own vulnerability from further exposure or manipulation. This type of defensive strategy provides immediate emotional relief through reciprocal pain infliction, but ultimately prevents the emotional processing necessary for genuine healing and professional development. The workplace environment witnessed this exchange, potentially affecting both parties' professional reputations, team dynamics, and future relationship opportunities within the organization. His calculated cruelty demonstrated sophisticated emotional intelligence applied destructively rather than constructively, using psychological insight to wound rather than heal or understand. The tragedy lies in how defensive responses often destroy any remaining potential for positive connection, mutual respect, or collaborative professional relationship, transforming temporary hurt into permanent interpersonal dysfunction. The workplace becomes an emotional battlefield where personal pain gets weaponized through professional interaction, creating lasting damage to individual well-being, team cohesion, and organizational culture. The aftermath of such exchanges creates permanent changes in workplace dynamics and individual approaches to professional relationship building and emotional vulnerability. His response effectively closed all doors to future personal connection while establishing rigid boundaries for ongoing professional interaction required by their shared work environment. The public nature of workplace environments means that cutting exchanges often become known to colleagues, affecting both parties' professional reputations, leadership potential, and future relationship opportunities within the organization. The defensive nature of his response revealed more about his character development and emotional maturity than her original strategic behavior, demonstrating how quickly hurt feelings can transform into destructive cruelty when pride and vulnerability intersect. The professional setting required both parties to continue functioning collaboratively despite the emotional damage created by their personal interaction and its hostile resolution. This necessity for continued professional contact after personal rejection and mutual emotional damage creates unique challenges for workplace productivity, team dynamics, and individual career development. The challenge involves learning to respond to workplace betrayal with dignity and professionalism, rather than defensive cruelty, maintaining career effectiveness while processing personal disappointment without creating additional interpersonal damage or professional complications. The experience serves as a comprehensive education in how defensive responses can become more emotionally damaging than original betrayals, creating permanent barriers to professional relationship building and personal growth. His carefully crafted dismissal achieved its immediate goal of emotional self-protection and reciprocal damage, but at the cost of any possibility for genuine resolution, continued friendship, or collaborative professional relationship. The workplace environment amplified both the original betrayal and the defensive response, creating lasting effects on team dynamics, individual emotional development, and organizational relationship patterns. The lesson emerges about the critical importance of processing hurt feelings privately before responding publicly, allowing time for emotional regulation and thoughtful consideration of long-term professional consequences. However, the human tendency toward defensive self-protection often overrides rational consideration of response strategies, leading to exchanges that create more lasting damage than healing or understanding. As we'll discover in the final transformation of this workplace saga, sometimes the most profound character development comes not from the initial betrayal or defensive responses, but from how individuals choose to rebuild themselves after experiencing the complete spectrum of professional disappointment, personal growth, and leadership opportunity. Weeks later, he assumed supervision of the night shift, and he never took off the jacket again. Not for cold, not for heat. The promotion represented far more than professional advancement. It symbolized the complete transformation of personal vulnerability into leadership strength, demonstrating how workplace betrayal can become the foundation for authentic authority and emotional intelligence. His refusal to remove the jacket became a daily ritual of remembrance and empowerment, transforming what had once been a spontaneous gesture of kindness into a calculated symbol of hard-won wisdom about professional boundaries and human nature. The garment that had initially represented openness and vulnerability now served as protective armor against future emotional manipulation, while maintaining his capacity for appropriate workplace compassion. This physical manifestation of his growth created constant awareness of the delicate balance necessary for effective leadership, caring for team members while maintaining the emotional distance required for objective decision-making and fair treatment. The jacket became his uniform of emotional independence, a visible declaration that personal feelings would never again compromise professional judgment or career advancement. His elevation to supervisory position demonstrated how personal setbacks can fuel professional ambition when channeled constructively rather than destructively, proving that resilience often creates the most effective and authentic leaders. The jacket's permanent presence served multiple sophisticated psychological functions, from protective talisman to daily reminder of hard-earned wisdom about workplace dynamics and human motivation. His decision to wear it regardless of temperature demonstrated complete ownership of his experience and its lessons, refusing to allow shame, embarrassment, or regret to dictate his professional behavior or self-image. This visible symbol of his transformation communicated to colleagues and superiors that he had processed the betrayal experience and emerged stronger, wiser, and more emotionally mature rather than bitter, cynical, or defeated. The garment represented his commitment to maintaining appropriate professional boundaries while remaining genuinely invested in team success and individual employee development. His consistent wearing of the jacket created a personal ritual that reinforced daily his evolved understanding of professional interaction, emotional self-protection, and authentic leadership principles. The physical comfort and familiarity of the garment provided psychological stability during the challenging adjustment period of new supervisory responsibilities and team management duties. The jacket became an integral part of his leadership identity, subtly communicating to his team that he understood both the importance of caring for employees and the necessity of maintaining appropriate professional distance for effective supervision. The supervisory role provided the perfect platform for channeling lessons learned from personal disappointment into highly effective leadership strategies for managing complex workplace relationships and team dynamics. His experience with misplaced trust and emotional manipulation provided invaluable insight into reading employee motivations, identifying potential relationship conflicts, and maintaining appropriate professional boundaries with supervisees across all levels of the organization. The promotion demonstrated how personal setbacks can become significant career advantages when processed constructively and systematically applied to professional development and leadership philosophy. His understanding of workplace betrayal made him particularly effective at recognizing and addressing potential romantic or strategic relationship complications within his team before they disrupted productivity, team cohesion, or workplace morale. The jacket served as a daily reminder to balance genuine empathy with professional judgment, caring authentically for his team's well-being while maintaining the emotional objectivity necessary for effective supervision, fair performance evaluation, and difficult personnel decisions. His experience taught him to distinguish between legitimate team-building activities and manipulative relationship strategies, making him exceptionally skilled at creating authentic workplace culture based on mutual respect rather than artificial intimacy. The personal growth achieved through processing workplace disappointment translated directly into enhanced leadership capabilities, improved emotional intelligence, and increased professional credibility throughout the organization. The transformation from victim of workplace betrayal to highly effective supervisor represents one of the most powerful forms of personal and professional development available in corporate environments. His ability to extract valuable, applicable lessons from painful experience rather than becoming bitter, cynical, or emotionally withdrawn demonstrated the type of emotional maturity that organizations desperately need in leadership positions. The jacket's permanent presence symbolized his refusal to allow past disappointment to limit future opportunities, professional growth, or capacity for appropriate workplace relationships. His promotion validated the strength, resilience, and wisdom developed through constructively processing workplace betrayal, proving definitively that personal setbacks can become significant professional advantages when handled with maturity and strategic thinking. The supervisory role provided numerous opportunities to model healthy workplace relationships for his team, demonstrating through daily example how to maintain appropriate boundaries while showing genuine care and concern for colleague well-being. His experience with emotional manipulation made him particularly effective at creating authentic team culture based on mutual respect, clear communication, and professional integrity, rather than the false intimacy that breeds workplace complications. The leadership position allowed him to protect other employees from similar betrayal experiences by establishing clear professional standards, relationship boundaries, and communication protocols that prevented manipulation while encouraging genuine collaboration. The jacket became a powerful teaching tool for his team, silently communicating essential lessons about professional behavior, personal boundaries, emotional integrity, and the critical importance of authentic rather than strategic relationship building in workplace environments. His consistent wearing of the garment, regardless of weather conditions, demonstrated unwavering commitment to principle over comfort, modeling the type of dedication, consistency, and reliability necessary for truly effective leadership and team management. The visible symbol of his transformative experience created natural opportunities for mentoring conversations with team members about navigating complex workplace relationships, maintaining professional integrity under pressure, and developing emotional resilience in challenging situations. His approach to supervision reflected sophisticated lessons learned about distinguishing between genuine care and manipulative attention, ensuring that his leadership style promoted authentic team building rather than the false intimacy that creates problematic workplace dynamics. The jacket served as a constant reminder to maintain consistency and fairness in his treatment of all team members, avoiding the favoritism, special attention, or preferential treatment that can create destructive workplace complications and undermine team cohesion. His experience with betrayal made him exceptionally sensitive to early warning signs of relationship manipulation within his team, allowing him to address potential problems proactively before they affected overall productivity, morale, or team effectiveness. The supervisory role provided an ideal platform for demonstrating how personal growth through adversity can translate into exceptionally effective professional leadership that benefits entire organizations. The psychological impact of wearing the jacket daily created a form of systematic exposure therapy that gradually transformed a symbol of personal vulnerability into a source of tremendous strength, confidence, and professional identity. His refusal to remove it despite changing weather conditions demonstrated complete integration of the betrayal experience into his personal development and professional leadership philosophy. The garment's permanent presence served as an ongoing reminder of his resilience, adaptability, and proven ability to transform disappointment into achievement, vulnerability into strength, and personal pain into professional wisdom. His approach to supervision reflected sophisticated understanding of workplace dynamics learned through direct personal experience, making him uniquely qualified to guide others through similar challenges while maintaining team productivity and organizational effectiveness. The jacket became an essential part of his professional brand, subtly communicating to colleagues, supervisees, and organizational leadership his reliability, consistency, emotional stability under pressure, and commitment to authentic relationship building. His promotion validated the tremendous strength developed through constructively processing workplace betrayal, demonstrating conclusively that personal setbacks can become significant career advantages when handled with emotional maturity, strategic thinking, and commitment to personal growth. The leadership role allowed him to create positive, productive workplace culture based on authentic relationship building, clear communication, and mutual respect, rather than the manipulative strategies and false intimacy he had personally experienced and learned to recognize. The ultimate lesson of his complete transformation lies in the profound power of choosing conscious growth over destructive bitterness, using personal disappointment as fuel for professional development, rather than allowing betrayal to create cynicism, emotional withdrawal, or interpersonal dysfunction. His permanent wearing of the jacket represented total ownership of his experience and its valuable lessons, refusing to allow shame, regret, or embarrassment to influence his future behavior, professional opportunities, or capacity for appropriate workplace relationships. The supervisory position demonstrated how workplace betrayal, when processed constructively and systematically, can develop the precise emotional intelligence, boundary-setting skills, and authentic leadership capabilities that are essential for organizational effectiveness and team management success. His experience created unique qualifications for managing complex workplace relationships and team dynamics, transforming personal vulnerability into exceptional professional strength and leadership authenticity. The jacket served as a daily reminder that genuine leadership requires both caring deeply for others' well-being and maintaining appropriate professional distance, successfully balancing empathy with objective judgment in all interpersonal and management decisions. His transformation from betrayal victim to effective leader represents one of the most powerful forms of professional development possible, proving definitively that resilience and wisdom gained through processed adversity often create the most effective, authentic, and trusted leaders in any organizational environment. Don't let these stories be just entertainment. Let them be your education. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell, because we're going to continue exploring the hidden psychology of workplace dynamics, teaching you to read the unspoken rules of professional relationships and build the emotional intelligence that separates true leaders from those who simply manage through authority. Your next workplace interaction could be the moment everything changes. Make sure you're prepared.